Welcome to the HMO Property Show. By investors, for investors. Catch us weekly as we discuss all things cash flow positive property investing. Whether you're a seasoned investor, a new landlord, or just curious about property investing, this is the podcast for you. Sponsored by the Co-Living Collective, your trusted partner in creating vibrant and sustainable shared living experiences. Visit us at colivingcollective.com.au to learn more.
Welcome back to the HMO Property Show. I'm your host, as always, Neil Gibb, and this week, thinking about the other time, I've got my good friends back on the podcast. It's the Home Chaperone. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Well, not back on this podcast. We did record the Perth Entrepreneurs podcast almost 2 years ago now.
It's crazy,
Yeah. A lot can happen in 2 years as well, can't it? You guys have been renovating like crazy.
Yes, I've been cracking the whip on Kris.
Lost my hair, got fatter, all the above.
Is that me or you?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So, Jess and Kris, it's an absolute pleasure to have you back.
Thank you.
We've already had a good laugh before we even record, haven't we? So this could end up going anywhere.
I hope we get to come back after this.
In another 2 years' time. I kind of planned them out like that.
That's it.
So tell us about the Home Chaperone then. Who are you guys? What do you do?
Okay, well, we're a small business that is designed to help people get the most value out of their home builder. Right. So we actually kind of fell into this business accidentally in the beginning because both Kris and I have worked for project builders before. And while we were working for project builders, we found that there's a lot of people out there that just want someone independent from their home builder to give them advice and tips and tricks of how to get the most value out of their home. So we kind of fell into it because it was something that people, kept asking us for on Instagram.
Yeah.
So why on Instagram though? What were you doing on Instagram? People ask you this.
Well, at the time that we kind of came up with this idea of the business, I had an Instagram account called Home Hacks with Jess and Max, and Max is actually our golden retriever.
The third child.
And
our first, that's now our third.
That's right. At the time, the builder that I worked for asked if they could use Max in a photo shoot in a display home. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, because I am a crazy dog lady. And then I just used the excuse of sharing building tips and tricks online to, just shamelessly post hundreds and hundreds of photos of Max. And because I was sharing these building tips and tricks, a lot of people just kept reaching out to us and asking us for help and, asking if we could take a look at their plan and make suggestions and that type of thing.
Yeah, you were getting hammered, eh? Like every night we'd be getting people messaging us saying, hey, can you have a look at this? What do you think about doing this? What would you do in this situation? Yeah. We sort of realised it was a bit of a business in it.
So nothing's changed. You're still getting all their messages now, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Probably worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so it's actually, the whole business was Kris's idea. He saw that there was a need out there in the market for a service like this because people just weren't getting that level of service that they wanted from their builders. So it
was also a trust thing though, because there's always that you're not sure whether the builder's doing the right thing by you. So to have someone independent, it gives them the confidence in their experience.
So when you say independent and getting the most value from their builder, what exactly do you mean by that?
So we're not affiliated with any builder whatsoever. Right. So people come to us with their plans and, we do have two services. Most people come to us with their plans and we go through it with a fine-tooth comb and we pick up on a lot of those oversights or errors or
maybe just suggestions.
Yeah, design suggestions that the builder just doesn't have the time to do because, the reality of working with builders is that, builders need to make a profit, which means that all of their staff have KPIs, which means, the faster they get someone in and out of their system, that's, potentially the more profit they're going to be making at the end of the day. And when I was working for a builder, the number one KPI that we had wasn't on customer service. It was important for some builders, but it certainly wasn't customer service. It was all around timeframes. So the staff just don't have the incentive there to spend the time with people to really, look at the house holistically and work out how to really tweak things to make it a really practical and usable space.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of these project builders, kind of like a sausage factory, isn't it? They just want to pump them out as fast as possible.
That's right.
And people in the business are getting timed on how much time they spend at each stage on that property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So everything from design stage to pre-start to actually delivering on site, it's all on the clock.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And how can we make it faster?
Yeah, there is always that pressure when you're working for a builder to get things done fast.
Time is money, isn't it? It's probably a good point now to talk about, like, there's a lot of frustration in the building industry at the minute from the builders and also from the clients as well, because builds are blown out due to all the business grants and the sort of bottleneck that's been in the industry. And then when you hear you two say that it's all about trying to make it as fast as possible, it's probably a good point to say that the builders aren't dragging these builds out for the sake of dragging them out.
No.
They want to get paid.
Yeah.
They want to get back to pumping these things out as fast as possible, don't they?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head.
The longer a home is on site, the more it's costing them.
Yeah.
You know, they're hiring staff, they're hiring, services on site.
Yeah.
It's a big chain thing.
Yeah, even in that pre-construction phase as well, that costs the builder to have a home sitting there in that pre-construction stage for a long time. So it costs then, and then when it's on site. So it's not in the builder's interest to slow things down, but it comes down to the market. The market's actually created this issue of the builder having to do things really, really quickly, and not having the time to spend one-on-one, because most people, they just are looking for the cheapest price. And if the builder's offering you the cheapest price, they just don't have the money there to pay their extra staff.
It's a race to the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So how did you get the experience that you've got to be able to help people with these things that you do help them with? If there's a pre-construction phase and a pre-start as well, what are you adding to the process that's getting missed at the minute?
Adding to the process. So, I've done quite a few roles on in the front end of the business when it comes to working for a builder. Yep. Kris has done more of the back end. So for me, I've got experience as a contract administrator, a pre-start consultant, a sales consultant, an EA. I did sales training as well. So bit of a jack of all trades.
Everything. Everything.
Yeah. We certainly don't know it all when it comes to building, but we've got a really unique insight into the inner workings of building companies. So what we do is I kind of draw on all of that knowledge to kind of leverage things like the builder's buying power to show the clients how to pay less builder's margin, essentially.
Perfect.
While still making it easy for the builder as well.
Yes. Yeah. And the builders actually like you too, don't they? Because you help them save time at each one of them stages.
Yep.
That's right.
And money. Makes the process easier for them.
Yeah. Because, even from a sales perspective, when I did sales, you work on commissions. So you want to get people in and out of the door as quickly as you can. So you don't, you care about the clients, but you just don't have enough time to sit down with them and go through every single little detail of the plan. So I come in at that stage when people are working with their sales consultant. We make tweaks to the plan, and then by the time they get to the pre-start stage, there's no hidden surprises. The client's already really prepared for that stage, so they can go into it just kind of cool as a cucumber, going, I know exactly what I want, I know exactly what I need, and I know how to do it.
Brilliant.
And, it just takes the pressure off everyone.
And is this before build contracts have been signed, or build contracts being signed at this stage and then you're going back?
Yeah, we work with people at different stages. A lot of people come to us once the overwhelm has hit. So,
which stage is that normally?
So that is the pre-start stage when you're choosing all the colours, the fittings, the fixtures. Everyone goes into it thinking that they can just wing it. And then they get to that stage and they go, wow, I just didn't realise the sheer amount of decisions that I need to make in a short period of time. So we do get a lot of people that come to us at that stage, and that's okay. I can help them out at that stage. But, a lot of them might be a little bit too far in the process where we can't make structural alterations to the plan.
So as early as possible, reach out.
Yeah, as early as possible is the best thing, because it means that we can tweak things like windows and doors and that
before it gets too pricey.
And it can get a lot pricier later on in the process, because you've got to do resubmission fees for things like your engineering or certificate of design compliance and that type of thing.
Cool. What about you, Kris? What's your background and where do you fit in?
So I'm a roof carpenter by trade.
Right.
Glorious roof
You're
carpenter.
in demand at the minute.
Yeah. That phone doesn't get answered. I'm a site manager for a building company now.
Right.
So I'm at the back end of it and seeing all the delays and everything on site. But I'm pretty lucky. The builder I work for at the moment is very good when it comes to that, and makes my job very enjoyable compared to what some of the other guys are experiencing at the moment. But it's definitely been a testing time, that's for sure, the last couple of years.
So you're the on-site, Jess is pre-start, pre-con up to build contract, and you're the on-site. That's how partnerships are made, right?
She tells us what to build and then I build it.
And if you don't believe them, if you don't believe them, watch the Instagram page, because that's essentially what happens.
That's exactly right.
Jess walks around cracking a whip.
Should take my shirt off one day and show people my back.
So roof carpenter by trade. When did you get off the tools, went into the supervisor role?
So I finished high school and then did my apprenticeship straight away, but I always had the idea of it wasn't what I wanted to do. I just wanted to get that background behind me, or the building background, and then I went straight to site managing. So building supervisor. Worked for a couple of the Perth builders around, and then.
Have you ever worked for the same company at the same time?
Not at the same time. No. We actually worked this out not too long ago, because I happened to talk about a company, and then you went, "Oh yeah, I was there," and we're like. When? When were you there?
We could have met earlier.
Yeah, we were always in the same circles, but never quite met.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So supervising, and then started a timber framing company where we used to pour polyurethane inside the little subsections of the timber framing, and it acted like a higher insulated wall system.
Yep.
So that went really well, and then got out of that and worked for a guy I met on site from Met West Steel. So they were launching a few products in double glazed windows. So I went over there to help them get that up and running. But of course, that was when COVID hit, so that was a real nightmare of a time. But
tough for everyone, that, wasn't it?
It was, it definitely was. It was a good experience. Like, it was definitely a great experience, and we did really well out of it. But obviously, once COVID started, we got a lot of our products from China, and dealt with some pretty high profile builders. So it was stressful taking those calls. But from there, went back to site managing with a company that we're affiliated with. So. That's been my roller coaster, and here I am now.
I like what you said there as well. Like, it didn't go right, but I learned a lot from it, and I think we've got to take every stage in life, or every step that we take, as a lesson. A lesson to take us to the next point, and then we got to that next point with a lesson in our armoury, don't we? And we're more educated, and probably a little bit wounded sometimes by some of the lessons I've had. But it makes you a better person, doesn't it?
It does, 100%. So it's obviously probably the same for anyone that goes and starts a new job. You sort of promise the world, and then when you get in there and
they give you an
get
atlas.
Going, that's it. So, but definitely learnt quick to take away the positives from the negative, which has definitely helped me get where I am today. So. Some really bad experiences, but took some, some good things from it.
Building, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Teaches you what not to do as well. Kind of sets a standard for how you want to operate.
Yeah. It's good too, because we've met a lot of good people along the way, and a lot of not so good people. So you sort of pick up a lot of friends that you can rely on, and mentors and people you trust to get involved with again. But that's my story.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
So when you think back to when you first set up the Home Chaperone, or Home Tips with Jess and Max, I think we haven't actually pointed out the fact that Kris replaced the dog.
Yeah, Max got sacked.
That was my shining light.
Yes, I mean.
See you, Max.
When was the big step to go, we've got a business here, and I'm going to walk away from my job and I'm going to go full time in this?
Yeah, well, it was 2.5 years ago. We actually decided to hold an in-person event, which you came along to.
I did, yeah, it was wicked.
And that's, that was the first time we really tested to see if there was a market for this, and if it was what people wanted more of. And the event was really, really great. There were a few teething issues because it was the first thing that we ever did, but after that event, that's it. Yep. After that event, we went, right, this is something that people want, and we can really make a difference.
How many people were at that event?
There were 30 people at the first one, and then I think 35 at the second one. So after that, I quit my job, and we just decided, right, we're going to rebrand. We're now the Home Chaperone. Kris is now in part of the business.
/ bartender. That was my role.
You were, and a great job you did.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where we created our online course, and we developed our consultations. And we really tried to work out exactly what people wanted from our service, because it is a niche market. Nobody here in Perth has ever done it before. So we just tried to like craft services that people wanted. So it's all based around people's feedback.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Before we get into the course and the offerings that you have now and the next masterclass that you've got coming up as well, how many people are booked in for that one?
I haven't released tickets just yet. Yes,
could be a cheeky offer for the HMO Property Show listeners.
I'm sure we can work something out. But no, we'll be releasing tickets next week.
Yeah. So your following on Instagram has accelerated quite fast, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
You two came to my 40th birthday party and someone pulled Joe to one side and was like, oh my God, is that the Home Chaperone over there? And obviously we're just mates and we're like, yeah, it's Jess and Kris, do you want to come and chat to me?
Yep.
And they were like, no way. And we were like, they're just normal people.
I'm glad they didn't, because I definitely enjoyed the bar that night, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's the power of social media though. The full business is being built off the back of mainly Instagram, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sharing tips on Instagram. And
Bunnings is a scary place for us to go to now, because
bet it is.
I reckon every second time someone's just looking too much.
Yeah. Sneaky photo of the show.
Yeah.
Home Chaperone, Bunnings at 6.
But it always makes me
the cheap
question.
stuff.
Makes me question. Is there something on my face, or do they recognise me? Because I really don't know.
Definitely recognise
No,
it.
it is really cool. It's awesome. Because we often just talk at the camera and think that nobody is even watching. So,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
So what I'd like to do, and you have quite very nicely given me some tips here as well, because I was looking through your Instagram the other day when I checked on my laptop, because I've took Instagram off my phone at the minute, trying to be more present.
Very good.
It's working. I noticed that you had 17 top tips for kitchen design.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, instead of us going through the full 17, how about we just go through the top 5 tips for the top 4 rooms in the house. Sure. And then if people get value from them tips, then we can talk about the course, we can talk about the masterclass and everything else that comes off the back of that.
Absolutely.
So 4 main rooms in the house are essentially the kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom and the laundry. Is there any other, apart from a man shed, is there anything else that I've missed off there?
I would have put that at number 1
Number
myself.
1. Yeah, man shed.
I'll cover that later.
Theatre room, games room.
Bed.
So top 5 tips for a kitchen. Do you want to take us through them, Jess?
Yeah, absolutely. So, with these tips, I try to really keep the cost of them down, because there are ways that you can tweak the plan without it costing a lot in the long run. So I've tried to focus on those ones here today. Now, the first thing is, how most people store their trays inside their oven because there's just nowhere else to store them in the kitchen, and it's really annoying to have to take the trays out every time you go to put something in the oven. So the first tip there is to put vertical melamine panels inside your cupboard. So instead of having a horizontal shelf, install them vertically instead, so that you can store your trays vertically instead of having to stack them one on top of the other, because that can get really annoying.
Nice.
Now, melamine panels are super, super cheap, so it's really easy for your builder to do something like that without it costing you a fortune. So,
And when you pull one tray out, you don't pull all 10 out.
All 16.
Yeah, they all fall out all over the place. Damn, sounds like a brass bands in the kitchen.
that's right. So you open the cupboards, you can see everything straight away. It's really nice and easy.
Love it.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Number 2 is to create a tidy cleanup zone. This is something that I see people do wrong all the time.
Tidy cleanup zone.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So, I'm all about cleaning the kitchen efficiently, because let's be honest, I don't know many people that enjoy cleaning. So the idea is to position your bin on one side, your sink in the middle, and then your dishwasher on the other side, so that you can take your plate in one hand, scrape it in the bin, rinse it in the sink, and then put it straight into the dishwasher in one clean motion, instead of having to take your plate to the other side of the kitchen and potentially drip food all over the floor.
Yeah, I'm definitely having that issue right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I think about it, my bin is near the dishwasher, but not close enough that it goes over the sink.
That it's easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Better not let Joe listen to this.
Yeah.
Whole new kitchen going in next
Let's
week.
just go bypass
Yeah. Number 3.
Okay, number 3 is all about storing things where you use them. So nowadays, so many people are putting in, sculleries or massive walk-in pantries and that type of thing. But what you don't realise is that you might end up running laps around your kitchen, going, from the hot plate back to the pantry cupboard to get your spices and that type of thing. So I like to store it where I use it, which is why I like to suggest putting in a bank of drawers right next to the hot plate. Now, the top drawer, you make that 200 mil high, so that's perfect for your oils, your spices, your salts, all of that type of thing. And then that means that your bottom drawers could then be equal size, so they're actually big enough that you can fit your pots in there, because if you just have the standard size drawers. Your pots don't fit, so the drawers kind of become useless. So
Wicked.
that's a nice easy one. Just, store things where you're going to use them.
Love it.
Yeah.
I like this one. I like number 4. We've actually, our range hood is broken now, and Joe was like, do you think we could get cupboards across the top there? I was like, thanks, Jess.
Unfollow.
So this one is a bit of a no-brainer for me. I don't know about you guys, but canopy range hoods tend to be a bit of a dust collector. They collect dust and grease, and they're just really annoying to have to clean. So you could opt for an integrated range hood instead. So what that means is that your range hood is hidden underneath your overhead cupboard, so it's all nice and slimline. And that also means that you can actually get a little bit of extra storage space at the front of your range hood as well. So
the added tip on that one as well was to make them deeper, wasn't it?
that's right. Yeah, that's the next one. So
there you go.
most builders as a standard put in 300 deep overhead cupboards, which is fine. You can store things like your glasses and that type of thing in there. But if you do have a smaller kitchen, it's really cost effective just to bump them out slightly and make them 400 mil deep instead. And, that extra 10 centimetres of space is really handy in your kitchen to store all of those extra things that, you only need every now and then.
Like you say, especially if you've got a small kitchen, extra 100 mil times 2 metres.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah,
Big.
Absolutely.
Very big.
And there's no risk of bumping your head on that 400 mil overhead cupboard either. It's far enough from your hot plate so that you're going to have enough clearance.
What about you, Kris? You're a big fella.
I don't do any cooking.
Oh, so no chance of that happening then.
Yeah, so I'm sweet. No problems there.
You're great on the Barbie.
Yeah, that's it. Can't be beaten on a Barbie.
Should we stick to 5 for each
Let's
one?
stick to 5, yeah.
Before we go any further, we've spoke about house design and stuff like that. So do you only work with homeowners or do you work with investors in the best way to increase their investment properties as well?
Yeah, I love working with investors.
Right.
Because we approach them differently. If I've got a client that's building their own home, it's a little bit different because they fall in love with what what they want.
It's more emotion in it. The decisions.
Whereas from an investor's perspective, they're all about getting bang for their buck and making sure that it's going to work for the purpose. So I like to spend quite a bit of time with investors just tweaking the plan so that they can potentially get more rental income at the end of the day. We work with everyone.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Bathroom top 5 tips.
Okay. That little gap between the shower screen and the vanity that always just collects dust and handballs.
My chest hair.
Chest hair.
What you can do is
You're lucky I only said chest then.
What you can do is you can put a 1200 high tiled wall in there. That way you can actually butt the vanity right up against that wall and your shower screen can sit on top of that wall. So it's got 2 purposes because it means that you get rid of that little dust collecting gap, but then also on the shower side, it means that you can use that little ledge to store all of your shampoo bottles and conditioner and that type of thing.
Perfect. Beautiful. Like it. No one likes a dust collector.
No.
Especially not. No.
You can't get in there, can you, to get
It's
it
actually
out?
easier for the builder anyway.
Yeah.
Like when they're, the tilers are tiling, if they've only got a smaller section to tile rather than a full wall. So it is easier for everyone.
And this is why builders like you guys, as well as people that are using your services for the tips as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool. Bathroom tip number 2.
Okay, most basins are positioned in the middle of the vanity, which, when you're looking at a plan, a lot of people like that symmetry.
Yeah.
But in real life, sometimes it's just not practical. So when you open the cupboards of that vanity, there's going to be pipework right there in the middle, which means that either side you've got a little bit of storage on one side, a little bit of storage on the other, but really the pipework is obstructing a lot of it. So I like to move the basins off to one side of the vanity, and then that way one side is kept for just storage, and then the pipe isn't actually getting in the way.
How do all these visually aesthetic people like that? Do they go, I can't handle it?
It actually looks
I think
great
it
because
looks
you can do
better.
your you can do your soaps on one side or a little floral arrangement, or you can get creative with what you do on the bench top. So it's funny. I have a lot of people that like symmetry, but sometimes in design, symmetry doesn't actually look that great. It's better to kind of just have things balanced. If you put a basin on one side, floral arrangement, candles, that type of thing on the other side, it looks pretty.
TV. I'm just trying to imagine, we've just had the bathroom done, so I'm thinking, what would it be like if we just moved that across? Just imagine Joe going, leave it. Bathroom tip number 3.
Okay, so most builders as a standard will have different heights of tiling around the room. So for instance, in the shower, it'll go up to 2 meters. Around above the vanity, it'll go to 1.2 meters, and then it will drop down to like skirting height around the room. Now, it tends to look a little bit cheaper than, beautiful full height tiling, but full height tiling does get quite expensive. So my tip here is just to increase the tiling to 1.2 meters around the entire room, which is the vanity height. So if you imagine over the bath, it's going to have one line the whole way around the room instead of dropping up and down.
Beauty.
And it's really cost effective.
Imagine what that would look like now.
We should have brought in some pictures.
I'm not a fan of the full height tile bathroom anymore.
No.
I think it's quite old, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depends, I guess. Depends on the tile.
Yeah, I suppose. If it's like marble imported from hilltops in Italy or something
it might be a bit different.
Quite swanky. Yeah. For a 300 by 300 plain white tile. Yeah. Look a bit cheeky. Where are we at? Number 4.
Number 4. Okay, so most builders will put in a 1.5 meter long bath. It's actually a really cheap upgrade to go to a 1.8 meter long bath instead. The last builder that I worked for only charged $75 for that upgrade. So if you get somebody that's tall like Kris here, he doesn't end up like a pretzel in the bath.
Yeah.
He'd actually be able to...
Not a pretty
Knees
sight,
never get wet, do they?
No. Knees, chest, hair. Just my mid-torso. It's not a pretty picture seeing my legs sprawled out the bath. I can promise you.
Oh, what a visual. So that's a really cheap change that you can do with
Even
your
I'm
builder.
haunted by that image.
$75, not a bad upgrade, really, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, this one's an interesting one. Number 5.
Okay, so I see this all the time with people suggesting that they put exhaust fans directly over the shower. Now, I'm not a fan of that because in winter I am a total pansy when it comes to being cold. I like the bathroom to be really nice and steamy, and if you position an exhaust fan directly over the shower, that means that it's just sucking that steam directly off you. And then, when the condensation cools, you can actually get cold drips on you from the exhaust fan. So my suggestion here, just relocate that exhaust fan to be outside the shower instead so that it can keep it nice and warm in there.
Interesting tip.
There's a lot of open showers nowadays with no shower screens. And I just like the idea of trying to contain that steam as much as you can.
Yeah. Cool. Kris, do you want to take us through the bedroom?
Yeah, probably better to leave Jess to do this one.
Jess, would you like to take us through the bedroom top 5
I'll
tips?
just be the comedic relief. I'm kind of learning as we're going here too.
So with bedrooms, it's really important to try to maximise what you can do with your furniture placement, particularly in like HMOs. So the first thing that I would look at doing is considering arranging the robes in a way that they can act as a sound barrier between rooms. So, if you want to create a bit of acoustic separation between 2 bedrooms, positioning the robe there is great because the robe itself will act as a sound barrier, but then the clothes in there as well will kind of dampen that noise transfer. So always relocate the robe to create that bit of a sound barrier. The second one is positioning the window sill at 800 mil high or 10 courses high, like above the floor level. By doing that, it creates a little bit of wall underneath the window where you can position like a chest of drawers, or you might have a bookshelf or a desk or that type of thing that you can push right up against there. And it just gives you more options as far as your furniture placement goes.
And that wouldn't cost anything to do, would it?
No.
That little tip?
Yeah.
Probably a lot better too for your waterproofing and that on site as well, to not have a window sitting directly on a slab.
Yeah.
If it's a little bit higher and there's a cavity brickwork or something like that underneath it, it's a lot better.
Yeah, beauty. Beautiful. Bedroom tip number 3.
Okay. Opt for sliding robes instead of hinged robes. So when I'm saying hinged robes, I mean, the doors that open into the room. Now, the reason that I say sliding robes are better is because they can actually go all the way to the ceiling, whereas your hinged doors, they stop at 25 course, which is 2.1 metres high. Whereas if you go sliding robes, if you've got 31 course ceilings, you're going to get an extra 500 mil of storage space above your robes. And that's really handy because you can put another shelf in your robe and you can store things like your big winter doonas or
just thinking that all my winter gear goes up there. I've got a bag that I just pull down every now and again, take all the clothes out, put the ones in that I don't need for the next 6 months, put it back up there.
So, it's a 500 mil of extra vertical storage space. Why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Perfect. And again, it all comes down to space. Would that cost anything more to do?
It depends on the builder, but most of them it's actually cheaper.
Would a lot of them have sliding robes included anyway?
Yeah, nowadays we have seen them kind of. Yeah, we've seen them move towards sliding robes, which is great. But you know, sometimes I do see those hinge doors pop up, and something else that people don't think about is that when you open those hinge doors, they do take up a bit of floor space too. You know, they do tend to knock furniture, so that's something.
Especially when homes are starting to become smaller, you know, for the first homeowner now. So all the space you can get helps.
Yes.
And losing that door space can be big.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Number 4, I like this one, being an electrician.
Okay, so arrange the PowerPoints towards the corner of the room for more flexibility with your furniture placement. I have lost count of the amount of times that I've seen builders position PowerPoints directly under a bed. If you've got like a fabric, if you've got a fabric bed head or something like that, it means that you have to crawl underneath your bed to try to plug in your PowerPoint. And it's super annoying. So position them towards the corners, and then that way it gives you a lot more flexibility.
Yeah. And for lamps and stuff like that as well, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to throw in one more bonus electrical tip here as well. So it's cheaper to get an electrician to come in and install PowerPoints at a later date, isn't it?
Yeah. It depends where and how you do it. This is something that we talk a lot about. When you're working with a builder, you can just take the PowerPoints that they have included in the contract and relocate them into internal walls. And the reason that we do that is relocating things is free with a builder, so that doesn't cost you any more. Then if you've got any PowerPoints that you want to put on external walls, it's really easy to get your own Sparky in later on, and they can come and drop the wires down the cavity of those external walls and pop in the PowerPoints for you.
Perfect. Boom. Putting an electrical thing.
I bet you it's caught you out a few times
when you told me that tip, I was like, oh my word, I'm an electrician. Why did I just love that one? It's my favourite tip. My favourite tip. Bedroom tip number 5.
Okay, so this one is something that I see a lot lately, where builders are drawing these designs with extra long hallways, and then the door of the bedroom opens into the bedroom itself. There's no reason why you can't relocate that door further into the hallway so that it kind of creates a private entrance for the bedroom. So instead of the door taking up floor space in the original room, it just takes up hallway space instead. So that's a really easy one to make the space more practical.
Love it. Love it. And we're also in the middle of a laundry renovation right now as well. Look at you guys, look at the plan, shouldn't we?
Send them across.
Damn it, it's too late. Nearly finished. So this is laundry top tips. Laundry top 5 tips.
Okay. Most people in winter have a clothes horse. One that they move from room to room to room while
breaks every year.
On the treadmill.
Oh, I hate it. The treadmill.
They're really, really annoying. So what I like to do is add overhead cupboards to the laundry, but position the overheads 900 mil from the bench top. Now that's enough space there that you could actually hang a shirt underneath the overhead cupboards. So you can get your builder to just put in a little rail underneath those overheads. Hey, there you go.
Yeah. I'm going to tick these off as I go through the laundry. Tick that one. I like that one. It's good because I cannot stand a clothes horse. I can't even say it.
That's good enough.
Getting it in and out of the cupboard, putting it together. It's got like the arms on it. They always fall down. God, trash at the wall. All right, laundry tip number 2.
Designate a specific broom section in the linen cupboard for brooms, the mop, vacuum, ironing boards, and all of that type of thing.
Look at him go, another one.
Tick.
That's so important because a lot of builders aren't putting in broom sections as a standard. They're just putting in 4 shelves. So then where are you going to store your vacuum cleaner
and your ironing board?
Your ironing board. They just end up out, which is not what you want.
Yeah. That's it. Tip number 3. Another electrical one. I love the little electrical
you could
ones.
take that one up a notch by including a PowerPoint in the broom cupboard. So so adding that PowerPoint there is super handy for charging your stick vac, or if you've got a robo vac or something like that. It can all be charged out of sight instead of out on bench tops.
Brilliant. 3 out of 3 so far. Tip number 4.
Okay, most cupboards are 600 mil deep. So what you can do...
We were on there. We're going so well.
I think we just got the 600 deep.
So if you've got a small laundry, you can actually increase the depth of your cupboards to 800 deep instead. Now, this is mainly just for those smaller laundries. because if you've got a large laundry, you've kind of got that area to work with. But that 800 mil, it actually gives you more bench space. But it also gives you extra under cabinet space as well to store things. Like you could take your washing basket, which for a lot of people sits on the bench. You can actually put that underneath your cupboards and store that out of sight. And it also conceals the washer and dryer a little bit better as well.
I think we have got an 800 on the other side of the laundry. So we got 600s on that side, and it was restricted. I'm thinking about it there. It's restricted by the door where the door is. So we didn't want to start moving door frames, but behind the door there's an 800 deep one. Because I remember Jo is struggling to reach the end of it. Yeah. She's only got small arms, hasn't she? Bless her. All right, so I'm gonna give myself half a point for that one. So 4.5. And then laundry tip number 5.
Okay, this one is one that we've done in our own home because we do have quite a small laundry. Instead of having one of the 45-litre laundry troughs, we went for a 35-litre instead to give us a little bit of extra bench space. And then with the tap, we went for a mixer that has like a pull-out mixer on it so that we could easily fill buckets and that type of thing. It just makes it so much easier to clean things around the house.
I like that tip. I don't think I've got that one, but it's looking like it could be a variation to the
Yeah, that's a nice easy one.
Yeah, I like that. It's good. It's good. Oh, go on then. Give us number 6 while we're here.
All right, number 6. Some builders will position the washing machine taps above the bench top. So, you know, that's the part where you connect to the washing machine hoses to it. And it just ends up collecting dust. It looks a bit untidy. It actually costs nothing to relocate those into the cabinet so that they're out of sight. The builder just puts a little hole in the side of the cabinet so that you can feed the hoses through. So yeah, that's one that you can do for free, and it just makes it look a lot nicer.
I'm going to give myself 5.5 out of 6 there. And I say myself. I did none of this.
I was going to say, we'll give Jo
5.5. So well done, love. Well done. And what I will say now as well is, if this is 20 of the hundreds of tips that you guys have got. If you want more tips for free, check out the Home Chaperone Instagram page. There's thousands of tips on there alone, isn't there? Tell us about the course that you've got then, and then the masterclass too. What can people find out in that? And
so the online course that we have has literally every tip that's ever been in our brain has been downloaded and put into this online course in a way that's really simple and easy to understand. So it's designed for people to really work with it throughout the entire process from start to finish. So if you're early in the process, that's the one for you, because you can go, step by step, and you know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and it takes away that overwhelm. For the people that are, a little bit further in the process where the overwhelm might have set in, personalised consultations is what we offer. That's where people can send us their plans, and we really look at it and tell them which tips we would do if it were our own home. And then we're doing another in-person masterclass in February next year.
And it hasn't been released yet.
Hasn't been released yet.
When can we get tickets?
Next week.
Next week? Ooh.
Next week, So we've got the wait list going at the moment. We are only going to be doing 30 tickets to the event. And I think there's about 50 people on the wait list. So
I was going to say we'll put the link in the show notes. But what's the point?
So I've got no doubt that this one's going to sell out pretty quickly. But we did want it to be a really nice, intimate night where people can actually ask us questions. But this particular masterclass is designed to show people how to take advantage of their builder's buying power and how they can tweak their plans to really get the most value out of it.
Lovely. Is there a future Zoom masterclass that people can join in?
There is.
Just about to say that.
There is. We are going to be doing a Zoom version. Haven't booked in a date for that one just yet, but we do have a lot of people from all across Australia.
I bet you do.
So,
I bet you do.
We love the live in-person ones because it's so nice to be meeting people, and we like to create a really fun vibe as well. We've got drinks there and canapes, and it's actually in a really nice dim lit bar, so it should be a fun one.
So I've lost my job. I'm not going to be bartender at this one.
What are you going to do with this one?
I'm not sure. I might just sit on out the back somewhere.
You can be the eye candy.
So you guys don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk as well, don't you? So you just bought a house, renovated it top to bottom, and just about implemented everything. In fact, I'm pretty sure the 17 top top kitchen tips were in your kitchen.
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to see where Jess and Kris live, check it out.
Our address is.
And I also heard a rumour that you were thinking about selling that house. Is that still happening?
Yeah, we're thinking about selling it. The temptation to get into.
Yeah. So if anyone's got $4 million spare, give them a shout.
You're almost there.
It's in Mount Lawley though, isn't it?
No, Jandakot.
Jandakot. Right. Yeah. So if anyone's thinking about buying, can they reach out to you and just see what it's about? Have you got an agent involved or anything like that?
Not at this stage. We're waiting until early next year.
Yeah.
We've had such a hectic year with our own stuff that we've sort of decided let's just leave it till early next year. But we've definitely got plans in place for our next one for me to get whipped at and go again. But
yeah, but the idea is for us to, flip a couple of houses because we actually want to get into HMOs ourselves. So we just need to get the cash behind us to do it. And when we realised how much money we've made on this, that we could potentially make on this house, we went, oh my God, okay, maybe we are selling this house and we'll go again.
We found that flipping the houses, though, was also good for the people that follow us on Instagram to see it live in action as well. So we got a lot of content and a lot of feedback from our clients or just our followers that were saying, oh, I'm going to do that at my house. Oh, I didn't know that could be done. So it's pretty good way to educate other people as well. And they can actually see it happening.
Because we do cost-effective changes. That's what we're good at. We want to try to keep those costs low, but then aim, pretty high.
Best bang for your buck.
That's what we're all about.
Yeah, I love it.
So Kris is a jack of all trades. He can literally do it all on site. So
YouTube specialist. That's what I am. If I don't know, I
YouTube sensation. So the course, can we put the link in the show notes for the course?
Absolutely.
Is it worth putting the masterclass in there?
Why not? Because we'll do the...
we're going to do the online one.
The online version.
And
I tell you what, we'll give you guys an exclusive discount code.
Use that HMO.
What is it?
Exclusive discount code.
We'll give you $250 off.
Woo!
For anybody that has your discount code.
That's a big one. Because we've had a few people that have been on this podcast and also took quite a few clients out of it. So,
nice.
Thank you very much. That is a very generous of you. Thank you. What else can we talk about?
Cool. What else have we got to talk about?
I want to talk about HMOs.
Yeah.
What do you want to know? Come on, let's have a little HMO session.
We don't know where to start with the HMOs.
Well, what you need first is a good set of plans. If you need someone to look at them, I know these two people. I can have a look at them for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think first things first, let's see if you can, well, not if you can sell a house. Without a doubt, you'll sell a house. It's incredible. So sell a house and see what you buy next as well, because you're going to need money to get the next one and renovate that one, and then we can go from there and have a chat.
Nice.
How much deposit do you need to do a HMO?
It can range. So we're looking at the minute, because interest rates have gone so high and construction prices have increased quite a lot. We're seeing that the cash flow on a HMO lately has dropped right off because the two most important parts of it have increased. Room rates are increasing, but not at the same speed that the cash rate and construction prices increase. So it's catching up.
Yeah.
When interest rates drop back down, that's when we'll see the HMO sort of perform again. Because at the minute, it's sitting around $4,000 to $7,000 a year cash flow, which is still good. Compared to some of the investment properties that you can purchase at the minute. But what we're looking at doing is making smaller ones. So we're going to start looking at the 4x4 again instead of the 6x6.
Okay.
And that way we can have a few couples in there as well. We can buy smaller blocks of land, build a smaller house, which will bring the prices down. And we're hoping that can then open us up to some of the normal lenders like your Westpac, your Commonwealth, NAB, lenders like that. Because at the minute, when we present a 6x6 to them, they look at that plan and say, it's not within our policy, we don't want to fund it, or if we do fund it, we want a 50% deposit from the investor. And obviously, as an investor, we want to put 20% really, but if we can get away with putting 10 in, we'll put 10 in. So we have to use specialist lenders in the market because this is classed as specialist security. But them lenders at the minute have got the monopoly in the market, so they're charging like a wounded bull. So interest rates at the minute, they've just gone up again, and at the time of recording this, they were 7.09%, which isn't too bad considering the cash flow that these things can create or the income that they generate. But they also charge principal and interest as well. which again isn't a bad thing because you're paying down debt
Yeah.
whilst you're doing it. So it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But we are seeing, obviously, there's a massive shortage in housing right now. There's more and more people moving to the country. Room rates are increasing. We just filled a house there for $450 a week more than what we stated in the feasibility when we presented it to the client 8 to 10 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so I like under promising and over delivering. It makes us look good. So I'd say let's just keep the feasibilities low. If they stack up like that and they're happy with that, then they're coming a little bit higher.
Yep.
We've got our first couple of new builds coming to an end pretty soon as well. So we might do a bit of a
They've
whole
gone real quick.
Real quick. Not as quick as what we would have liked, but typical investor.
Yeah,
Back in the whip.
Yeah.
They'll be 12 months from start to finish. But the next ones that we've got coming through now have gone from like slab down to tiling in 6 months.
Yeah, that's unreal. That's really good.
Yeah, there's that bottleneck in the industry is definitely
it's at the back end now, isn't it?
I mean, you'll see it. What do you think's happening out there, Kris?
Exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
So the bricklayer, roof carpenter, roof cover trades, they're sort of it's past them now, and we're at the end. So your floor tilers and your painters and your pavers, they're the ones now that are going through it and experiencing it. So hopefully that means we're not too far from the end of it. If it's at them now, but it does make it. I find it makes it a lot trickier at the end than it was with the brickies and the roof chippies.
Smash through, can't they?
Well, but a bricklayer is just one trade. So if you need to push your next trades back to accommodate or even bring forward, it's okay. But when you're trying to coordinate the end of a build and there's so many people involved, it is definitely an experience, but can be done if you've got reliable trades that you work with all the time. But it definitely makes it harder for sure.
Yeah. And with all the sort of confusion and frustration that's out there at the minute, do you feel it's a good time to build now? And you will know how many people are building by how many people are reaching out to you for help right now, aren't you? So are you the busiest you've ever been?
We're not the busiest we've ever been,
Right.
but it's a really nice new normal. It feels like it's gone back to a good steady pace.
Right.
I've found. For a little while there, it was absolutely bonkers.
It's at the building grant time.
That was just absolutely bonkers. And it's I don't think it was a great move by the government to release those grants and have such strict timeframes around it, because it did create a bottleneck in the industry, and it made a lot of builders look bad on the outside, even though they were trying their best to do the right thing by everyone. There was just so much work on. Whereas right now, the builders have got everything under control. They've wrapped their head around the new pricing that's out there. It seems like everything's moving along through the system really well now, and a lot faster than it was.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of builders learnt a lot, but one of the big things they learned is to not take on more work than what their company can produce.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of companies in that time, that just grabbed everything they could without looking at the future. And I know there was a lot of companies out there that did the right thing and only took what they knew they could manage, but there was a lot of companies that didn't. And they're the companies that you now see on Instagram and Facebook with these huge delays because they're not set up to accommodate.
Yeah.
I think right now is a really great time to build.
Yeah.
You've got the available trades, you've got the available staff to process it.
Yeah, for sure. It's just do your research. If you do your research on who to build with and who's having a great experience, it's always a good time to build.
What research can somebody do then when they're looking for a builder, whether they are a homeowner looking to build their own primary residence, or if it's an investor looking to build an investment product? What's your top 5 tips, Kris, since we're doing 5 tips?
I reckon the internet's the best.
Yeah.
Your social medias, even jumping onto a website. I feel like display homes are a bit of a false hope, if you like. So drive around some brand new estates and have a look for the builder that you're thinking of, and have a look what their sites look like. Have a look, are there trades on site? So a clean site. Are their trades working? If you drive past a site and it looks like there's rubbish everywhere, it's unfinished, there's no one there, to me that would be alarm bells. But I think the biggest thing in this day and age is you can jump on your phone, you can jump on a computer, have a look at Instagram, Facebook, these sort of things. There's building groups that you can jump on, like Shonky Builders and these.
You got now. If you got there, you're never going to find a builder. Yeah.
You'll never build because you very, very rarely ever see someone post something positive on there.
It's just a whinge fest.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, it's like having a flock of Karens all in one's place. That are
Sorry to any Karens out there.
But they're just complaining about something that they don't know about. So they're putting this information out into the world without actually having the full story.
Yeah.
And I understand there are some builders out there that aren't delivering. But there are a lot of builders out there that are doing the right thing. And then once something is on the internet, it's really hard to kind of come back from that, because the builder doesn't have an opportunity to justify why it's done that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, the internet is a really great place for researching, but you also have to look at those situations and go, there's two sides to every story.
Yeah.
So like Kris says, go to building sites and check it out and see what they're actually doing on site. Because I tell you what, if it's a clean site, that site manager is a super organised site manager, so your construction's going to be smooth. And the trades take better care of the house when it's a clean site as well.
Probably a good one, just to cut you off there, is to actually go and talk to the trades and say, how do you find working for, you know, whoever you're building with? And just say, you know, are they reliable? Is everything going well with them? They are a key indicator of what the building company's like.
They'll be so honest.
Yeah, they will. They'll say, oh, no, these guys are no good. Oh, yeah, we love working for them. That's a really good indicator of, you know, how they are as a company. For sure.
So just before everybody starts flocking to site and turning up in the thongs and the bodies and stuff like that, what are the
just
rules?
do it from your car.
What are the rules for going on the site, Kris? So they can't step onto a building site and just start having a chat with everybody, can they?
No, you gotta do the right thing. I mean, if you can see them from the road, obviously you can try and yell out to get their attention to, you know, let them know you're coming on a site. But realistically, if you're going on a site, you need to have a white card. You need to have safety equipment on. There's huge ramifications if you don't. So just letting people know that you're on site is a big thing. You can ring the builder and say, hey, I want to go and have a look at a couple of homes. I found this one. Is it all right if I go on site? As long as you're making someone aware, it's generally all right. But realistically, you can just drive past and you'll get a pretty good feeling of how the building's going. If you're not interested in talking to people, you don't want to approach people that early and get harassed, just drive past through all the estates and have a look at the builders that have the clean sites and, you know, they look nice and presentable.
Have people working on them.
Like
you say, it's a good indicator, isn't it? If there's trades there,
it is.
The job's moving forward.
Trades won't work for someone they're not happy to work for.
Correct.
So, you know, if trades are there, it's obviously a good sign.
Awesome. Guys, it's been a pleasure. We've been chatting for 51 minutes.
Hey, time flies when you're having fun.
So thanks again for coming on the podcast. Again, Instagram is a place to find these two if you want to know more about them. If you want to look at their lovely home and see what's going on there and the way they've renovated it and see how hard Jess makes Kris work, then check it out.
Limping here.
Honestly, guys, really appreciate you coming down. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
having us.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in the same time next week so you can stay up to date with all cash flow positive property updates.